I'm back inside the admin side of WordPress, and I'm in the recipe page. Right now, there's no way for me to know how many ratings each recipe has, or what the rating is for each one. Wouldn't it be nice if I could see all the data here in this table? At this point, you can already guess how we would do this. If you were thinking action hooks, then you were correct. Along with showing the rating count and the actual rating, we're also going to remove the tags column, as it's kind of useless information for this post. Open up the admin init function. I'm going to add a new filter hook called Manage Post Type Post Columns. I provide a link to this in the resource section of this lecture. Let's take a look at the codex page. The post type in the name can actually be replaced with the name of the post type where the columns will be updated. So let's go back to the filter hook and replace this word with the recipe, since that is the name of our post type. This filter hook will actually give us an array of columns already set by WordPress. We have the option of returning a modified version of this array or a brand new array of columns. Let's set this filter hook's function to add new recipe columns. I'm going to create a file called columns.php within the admin folder and define the function here. Make sure to include it from the admin init function. This function will be passed a columns array. We're not going to use this though. Instead, I'm going to create an array called new columns. The key of these arrays will be used to identify each column, and the values will be the names of each column. This will be outputted onto the header and footer of our table. If we take a look at the codex page, WordPress provides a list of default columns we can set. I'm going to use all of these except the tags and comments column. You should have something similar to what I have. You'll also notice that I'm making each column name translatable. Right after the categories column, add two more columns called count and rating. When it comes to custom columns, you can name these whatever you want. I'm going to keep it simple. These column names will also be translatable. The last step is to return the new columns. Since these are custom columns, it is our responsibility to output the data for each column. Back inside the admin init function, we will now add an action hook called Manage Post Type Post Custom Column. I provide a link in the resource section for this action hook. This hook will allow us to output info for each column. The post type keyword should be replaced with the custom post type this hook will affect. In our case, it would be recipe. The function we want to call is manage recipe columns. This hook will actually pass our function 2 arguments that we'll need. So I'm going to set the priority to 10 and the accepted arguments to 2. I'm going to define this function inside the columns.php file. The 2 variables that will be passed in are column and post ID. The column variable is equal to the key in the columns array, and the ID is the ID of the current post. I'm going to use a switch statement here. I'm going to check the column and see if its value is equal to either count or rating. Otherwise, I'm just going to break this statement. Don't worry about the other columns. Since they are WordPress columns, WordPress will handle setting those values. It's our custom columns we need to worry about. For both of these columns, I'm going to grab the recipe metadata and simply echo out the corresponding values for each column. Refresh your page and you should now see your columns appear. We only have one recipe, but we can already see the amount of ratings it's received and the average rating.